what are the qualities, that is, that is actually being possessed by a student leader, and how can they go ahead and sharpen those qualities, because each one of you will have those qualities. My entire task today will be to go ahead and introduce those qualities to you, and also help you go ahead and sharpen and enhance it. So the way we are going to go forward with the session is like this. So this is the outline. I have broadly gone ahead and divided into, means the broad three parts. It starts from, the basic understanding of the leadership, then what are the qualities of a leader, and how to go ahead and develop, something called as a student leadership. So when I say the word, what you call as leadership, what comes to your mind? So all of you have some opinion, when we say, when we talk about a leader. So initially, what we are going to do is we have to understand this word, leadership very, very properly before seeing to it that what are the qualities of a leader and how can you go ahead and develop those qualities. Okay. So let me first start with, this thing. So in front of you is a slide where there is a comparison between two leaders, right? So this is a leadership comparison one. We have a leader one and we have a leader two, right? On the left hand side, we have a leader one, and on the right hand side, we have a leader two. So when I talk about leader one and leader two, right? And there is a comparison between, what we call as two leaders. Who will be the leader of your choice, right? You can look at, all the characteristics or the attributes of leader one on the left, and then you can look at the characteristics or attributes of a leader, on the second side. So just let me know who will be the leader of your choice. So whenever we did leadership comparison one, right, the vast majority, 2/3 of the people were more inclined towards leader two, and 1/3 of the people were inclined towards leader one. Okay, let's go ahead, and try to clarify more things. Okay, let's go ahead. So this was 75% in favor of leader two and only 25% in the favor of leader one. Okay. Now let us go ahead and look at the third comparison. There is one more comparison where just see to it that what is it that your choice of leader will be. Will it be leader one or will it be a leader two? Now both of them are leaders. Based on the attributes, based on your understanding of what leadership is, what will you choose? Will you choose a leader one or will you choose a leader two? So let's go back, right? And now look at it. Now, when we look at this leadership comparison one, right? Now, when we look at leadership comparison one, you'll be surprised to know this, that leader one is Steve Jobs, and leader two is Bill Gates. I'm not sure, if you will like to go ahead and change, your votes now, but they have already been sealed. 33% of you voted that you will go ahead, the choice will be leader one, and 66% you went ahead and voted that, the choice will be what we call as leader two, right? So leader one was Steve Jobs, who by, who has actually been considered, like one of the largest corporate leader of our times, right? And now if you know about, an organization by the name Apple, right? Apple is the first, what we call as $1 trillion company in the world, right? All because of the foundations which have been put, by what we call as Steve Jobs. Now, when we look at comparison two, where leader two was 75% and leader one was 25%, leader one is Mahatma Gandhi and leader two is Hitler, right? Leader one is Mahatma Gandhi and leader two is Hitler, right? So you'll have to see, 75% of the people they actually suggested leader 2, right? And they voted leader 2 over leader 1. I have just gone ahead and, talked about the characteristics of both the leaders in both these columns. Now let's go ahead and look at the poll 3, where 75% of you went ahead with leader 1 and only 25% of you went ahead with leader 2, right? In this case, both of them are, what we call as they are the cricket players, right? Any idea who is 1? Okay. So 1 is Dhoni and 2 is what we call as Virat Kohli, right? And trust me that whatever the attributes that we have gone ahead and mentioned it, right? People are, right? I'm sure about it. We will have a lot of fans, of both Dhoni and Virat. And certainly, there are more than 30% of the people, those who are fans of Virat Kohli, right? But in the poll, it only talked about that 30% of the people have gone ahead and talked about the leader 2 as the leader of their choice. And around 70% of the people, they have gone ahead and chosen, leader 1 as the leader of their choice. Okay, so this should tell you that the concept of leadership, is very different from what actually is being told, that a leader is always a people's man and this thing and that thing, right? So let's try to understand now, what actually is a leader. Can you guys just, based on your understanding, right now, can you see to it that apart from a leader, right, apart from a leader, having a proficiency in going ahead and leading a team, is there something else, right, which goes ahead and binds all these 6 leaders by a common thread? Is there something which is, you see some kind of a commonality between a Virat Kohli or a Gandhi or a Steve Jobs or a Bill Gates or a Dhoni, right? Can you see it, how these things, they go ahead? Just think of it, right? Just think of it, and you can always mention in the chat box. They have some plans which they tend to execute. Okay, good, Ananya, good point. Anybody else who has seen some kind of a determination, right? As said by, Jia. Okay, good. So let's go ahead, right? Efficiency, right? Effectiveness. A leader has to be dedicated towards a goal, right? He should be knowledgeable. He has skills and ability to volunteer. They have at least one skill, all these are being shared in the chat box. So I'm just going ahead and put. So a lot of participation from all of you, right? Okay. Now let's go ahead. Let me give you a few more, what we call as clues. So when we talk about leadership, it's a time to bust the myths, right? A lot of people first think that they feel that a leader is liked by everybody. He's a favorite of everybody, right? Okay, leadership is not a kind of a beauty contest. Not everybody needs to like you, right? So this is what you will see also, right? Not everybody liked Gandhi, not everybody liked Hitler, not everybody liked Steve Jobs, not everybody liked Bill Gates. And same is true, about the last set of comparison that we went ahead and did, okay, say with the likes of MS Dhoni and Virat Kohli. A leader always stay cool and calm, right? Which is absolutely not true, in the case of Virat Kohli and in the case of Steve Jobs. Leader is very, very knowledgeable in his area of work, right? You will see to it that around 55% of the US presidents, right? If you, look at their background, right? They were never, more than B graders, right? You look at the CEOs of, at least 50% of the top-notch companies, if you go ahead and, look at a list of Fortune 500 companies, you'll say that 50% of the CEOs, right, will typically, the B graders or so. If you look at even the entrepreneurs, right, those who have gone ahead and led the organization, okay, if I talk about somebody like a Sachin Bansal or Vinny Bansal, all of them, like both of them, they started an organization by the name Flipkart. It took 5 years, for Sachin Bansal to go ahead and complete his engineering at IIT Delhi. So understand that there is a perception that a leader is very, very knowledgeable, which is not true. Leader always believe in having the participation of everybody in his team, right? Okay, this is a myth, right? When we looked at say somebody like a Steve Jobs, right? We have seen this, that he is not, like he was not looking out for a participation from everybody. Leaders must be extrovert, right? May not be true. Position determines leadership. Position determines leadership. If you look at a leader like a Gandhi, right, he had absolutely no, he had absolutely no position. So you need not hold a position, right, to be a leader. Leaders and managers are alike, right? There is a huge difference between, what we call as the leaders and what we call as the managers. The leaders go out and derive, their authority based on the qualities that they have, right? And managers go out and derive their, their authority, based on the kind of position that they go ahead and hold into an organization. Leaders must always be leading. This is also not true, right? You will not see the leaders always leading, right? Rather, a time comes when a leader sits at the back, right, and he let other people go ahead and lead, right? And that is the true test, of a leadership. How well have you gone ahead and developed your people that they are able to lead now? Once a leader, always a leader. This is also not true, right? Because there have been cases where, somebody has been highly successful in a certain situation, but in some other context or in some other situation, these people, they have failed. Leaders are born, not made. I don't think so. Leadership can be learned. So this is again a myth that, always see to it that leaders are not born, right? Okay. Leadership is a skill that can be, actually acquired. It is not something with which you are born or something which is there in you. And leaders are fearless. Now, one thing that you should know is this, that somebody who says that he has been fearless all his life has not done anything in his life, right? So fear is a part and parcel, of a leader's life. And how do they overcome it? We'll, just go ahead and talk about it. So now when I say that, what is it that a leader is? Now you should be able to tell it to me. Now I have told you what is it that a leader not is, right? This is what most of the people feel, that, this is what a leader is. But all these things are the myths, right, which are there in the mind of the people, about a leader. So now can you attempt and tell me some 3 broad characteristics of a leader from each one of you? Yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead, right? And then look at who is a leader, right? Who is a leader, right? So when we talk about who is a leader, we are primarily talking about each one of them, right? Just very quick, just talk about one positive quality of each one of them, right? I'm just looking at a chat box. Most of these people, if you do not know anybody, means one single person, if you do not know them, you can just ask me, but yes. He should be a team player, whom the next leader is what Tanushri says. A leader can overcome his flaws. Confident, a leader can overcome his flaws. He or she is brave. He's smart. He's intelligent. Harry Potter trusted all his members of his gang and distributed the duties evenly. Okay, good. Humanitarian, very courageous, cooperative, happy with whatever he has, right? Some of you are typing it all there. Okay, let me show you the second set of people. These are not the only leaders that you know. Okay, now look at the second set of people. These are also the leaders that you know. If Harry Potter was a leader, right? Okay, Voldemort was equally a strong leader. Okay, good, good. So trustworthy, truthful, a lot of things, right? That we guys are going cool-minded. Okay, okay, good. He has got good communication. Okay, good. Okay, let's go ahead and look at it further. Now, these are the ingredients of a good leader, and you will see that these ingredients will be common across all of them, right? So leader has an influence over others. Now, kindly see to it that leadership is determined by an influence. If you do not have an influence over others, right, it is not supposed to be a leadership. So a leadership always come along with the influence, right? So leader has got influence over others. Consider to be serious about his goal. A leader will have a vision, a leader will have a goal, and people will be there to go out and believe in his vision. Okay, take the example of Jack Ma, right? Jack Ma, when he started, like when he started an e-company, like when he started an e-commerce company like an Alibaba, uh, there were not many people those who went ahead and believed in his dreams, right? But he was so serious about his goals that when he started achieving small successes, right, he saw his team, actually becoming big, right? And today, as all of us, we know that, Alibaba is means Alibaba is one of the largest e-commerce companies across the world. So consider to be serious about his goals. In the process of reaching his goals, he forms a team, gets work done out of his people, and harness their true potential, right? Works with the framework of rules, has a dispensable view of the world, right? What do we mean by dispensable view of the world? They generally feel that nobody is indispensable, right? They are focused on their goals. Think of a Steve Jobs, right? Think of a Bill Gates. People, those who wanted to, people, those who wanted to be with them over a long period of time, right? Okay, actually went ahead and reaped the rewards. Otherwise, they were not, actually being inclined on having somebody in their team, right? So they have got a dispensable view of the world. People come and people go from their lives, right? But they feel that, like there is no single entity which is, what we call as indispensable, right? So these are the ingredients of a good leader. Okay? Why am I telling you this? That before actually getting into, the qualities of being a student leader, because all of you, are students, those who are there in your class 9th or 10th or 11th or 12th, right? So you need to start inculcating some of these qualities, now only, so that in future, right? Okay, in future you can, actually go ahead and enhance on these qualities, and you can become a good leader. And see to it that, if you're going to go ahead and choose any kind of a career, right, irrespective of the career you are in, the qualities of being a good leader are actually being rewarded everywhere. Okay, you will never ever find the top CEO of a company, right? Okay, not being a good leader. So you will have to go and develop the leadership qualities in you if you want to move ahead in your life. And if you start now, it will always help you in the later stages of your life too. Okay, so this is what definition of accepted definition of a leadership is. So when we talk about a leadership, leadership is an influence. It is an influence relationship among leaders and followers who intend real changes and outcomes that reflect their shared purposes. Right? Look at each one of these words. It is an influence. Right? Leadership is an influence. If a person cannot influence anybody, he will not be a leader, right? So the core of the leadership is influence, and whatever, the attributes or characteristics that you have read till now, right, whatever the pictures of, all these leaders that you have seen, you will see to it each one of them had influence on either a group of people or a team, right? Or uh, or even like a few other people, right? Okay, it might not be a group, but they always had an influence on somebody. So leadership is an influence relationship among leaders and followers who intend real changes. Now, followers are looking out for some kind of changes and outcomes that reflect their shared purposes. The shared purpose is a goal. So sometimes the follower may not have the vision to see the future. So he actually believes in the vision of a leader, right? That's actually what happened, with, say, somebody like a Steve Jobs, right? Everybody believed in his vision of the future. Steve Jobs was, if you look at Steve Jobs, he was actually highly creative, and he had a certain vision of a future. He used to talk to his customers very often, right? And he actually ended up changing the entire industry, right? So, okay, so that's that's what we know about him. So, are there any rules? Now, there is no kind of a, no kind of a rule for being a leader. So when we talk about a skill, right, that's why we say that leadership is a skill. It's about knowledge. Leadership is about a skill. It is not about a knowledge. Can somebody tell me the difference between skill and knowledge? Right? Can somebody tell me the difference between a skill and knowledge? Any one of you, if you like to tell me the difference between the skill and the knowledge. What is a skill and what is a knowledge? Skill has more of a practical application, right? Anybody else who will tell me? Skill is inbuilt, is inbuilt. Okay. Skills are with the amount of perfection you can do a work. Okay. Anybody else, right? We are calling leadership as a skill. We are not calling leadership as an attitude. We are not calling leadership, as a knowledge. Skill achieved through practice, but knowledge is bookish. Skill is by default, whereas knowledge is gained. Okay, good. Always see to it that application of knowledge is skill, right? Application of knowledge is skill. So somebody has mentioned that if you go out and practice the knowledge, you will be skillful. Or when we talk about skill, it's more of an application. So remember this, that whatever the knowledge that you have, right, application of that knowledge, right, is nothing but the skill. And leadership is all about it's all about practice, right? It's all about practice. So what is it that we are saying? That whatever you'll go ahead and learn, all of them are all of them are some kind of indicative guidelines, right? None of them is a rule, because there are no rules for a leadership. Personalities like Steve Jobs, right, and a personality like what we call as Bill Gates, who are absolutely opposite to each other, right? Both of them have been massively successful in their kind of a leadership, right? One of them was more one of them was more like an autocratic leader, and the second guy was more like a participative leader. So you will see to it that there are no rules in a leadership, right? There are no rules in a leadership, right? The style of leader depends on her philosophy, his personality, and the past experiences that they have. Okay, so the style of a leader depends upon her philosophy, personality, right, and the past experiences that they have. Okay, so let's go ahead. Now, let me go ahead and share with you the qualities of a good leader, which we have gone ahead and, which actually we have gone ahead and talked about it. But at this age, what is it that we need to go ahead and focus on, right? So when we talk about a Steve Jobs, right, and a Bill Gates, we are talking about, an end product, right? We are talking, about, we are talking about, a product which has gone through, an experience through multiple ages. Okay. So, but when we talk about the qualities of a good leader, right, what is it required to be a good, leader at your age? So student leader qualities and how to develop them. So we'll talk about 10 top qualities which a student leader has, right, which you can go ahead and initiate. And this will go ahead and help you for the rest of your lives, to inculcate these things, in you. So these are the 10 qualities which a student leader has, right? Since most of you are there in your schools, if you make a beginning, you can start inculcating these qualities in yourself, and you will see to it that a few years from now, right, these qualities will take root, and then the success will start coming your way. Okay. So first is you should be goal oriented. Second is honesty. Third is, what we call as, means you have to be, like what we call as hardworking and persevering. Then fourth is, the willingness to serve. Fifth is being a good listener. Sixth is you being a good communicator. Seventh is you are a good decision maker. Eighth is that you need to encourage yourself and you need to encourage others. Ninth is you should be an optimist. That is, you should go ahead and, look at the positive side of the things. And 10th is you should go ahead and take some kind of a responsibility, for your actions. Okay, so let's start digging each one of them. My goal here is to make you aware of all these qualities, and also to give you some guidelines that how can you go ahead, and increase, or enhance these qualities, okay, in, like in yourself. Okay, so let's start with it. First is the goal and intent, right? A wonderful quote here. The very essence of leadership is that you have to have a vision. You can't blow an uncertain trumpet, right? Very essence of a leadership is that you have to have a vision. You can't blow an uncertain trumpet. And you will see this everywhere, right? Making of a Myntra, which is the only operationally, what you call is profitable e-commerce company in India, right? Being started by, a founder by the name Mukesh Bansal. Think of a Flipkart, right? Now being sold to another organization, okay, by the name Walmart. Again, started by the alumni of IIT Delhi. And think of multiple organizations. Every organization had one thing common, that they had a certain kind of a goal, right, which used to go ahead and run in the DNA of an organization, right? So when we talk about developing a student leadership, right, you should have a certain kind of a goal in your life, okay, or maybe for the next 2 years, right, you should have a certain kind of a goal. Now the goal can be anything, right? It can be that you want to go ahead, right, and you want to crack an IIT, or you want to go ahead, right, and land into a top medical school in the country like AIIMS, or you want to go ahead and clear your CA, right? Or there can be multiple things, like you want to be like you want to go ahead and like be good in sports, right? You want to go ahead and play, say something like an under 19 cricket. So understand this, that you need to have a goal, because when you will have a goal, you will try to focus on that goal, and you will try to channel your energies, okay, towards that goal. See to it that we have got a lot of like we have got a lot of sunlight all across the planet, but only when a sunlight passes through a lens and it is being focused on one single place, like then only it starts a fire. Okay, in the absence of that, is just like like any other thing. So goal is very, very important. Now there are 4 steps to find your goals. Okay, now how do you find your goal? Now step number 1 is make a list of what's important to you. Okay, make a list of what's important to you. So it may happen that sometimes you'll have to go out and consult a lot of people around you. So when we are talking about, your future careers, right? See to it, what is the careers that you want to go out and choose? Some of you would have already chosen your careers, those who are, those who are in class 11th and 12th. But some of you, those who are still to choose your career, make a list of everything that's important to you. Then ask yourself, why are these things important? After you have created a list, right, just start asking yourself that why are these things important to you, right? Are you doing these things because everybody else is doing it, or you are actually passionate towards these things, right? Then when you are answering this question, why is this important to you, you will see to it that you will start identifying certain kind of interest and values in the entire list, right? You will start finding out certain kind of values and interest in the entire list. Suppose you have got that you want to be a part of the school cricket team, you want to prepare for IIT or maybe one other goal, right, on on the list. And then you start asking yourself that why is it important for you, right? So then you start seeing your interest and values in your answer, right? So it may be possible that when we talk about like when we talk about engineering, you may be inspired with somebody in the family who's already an engineer, okay, and and you actually want to go out and pursue that kind of a career, in your future. So then you use your interest and value. Wherever options your interest and values comes out, then you see to it that those are the goals that you need to go ahead and achieve, right? So there is a step 1, there is a step 2, there is a step 3, and then there is a step 4. You need to make a list of what's important to you. Ask why is this important to you. Then step 3 is use your answers to identify your interest and value. And then step 4 is use your interest and values to set your goals. Okay. Now, will it be, will it be 100% accurate in the beginning? The answer is no, but over a period of time, right, you'll actually go ahead and get good. But this is one of the best ways to find out that your goals should be in line with your interest and values. If you are not interested in pursuing, a goal, you will see to it that, you'll not be able to, like achieve it. For a very simple reason, I've seen this, that, most of the students at URI, they want to go and pursue something because everybody else is also doing it, right? Find out your goals. If the goals matches your interest, if the goal matches your values, then those are the goals that you should go after. Then what is that you go ahead and achieve your goals, right? So when we talk about goal orientation, you should know two things. First is, how do you set your goals? And the second thing is, how do you achieve your goals, right? So when we talk about achieving your goals, you have a framework which we call as SMARTER, right? When you achieve your goals, we have a framework, right, which is called as, SMARTER. Now, what is SMARTER? A SMARTER stands for, specific, meaningful, achievable, relevant, time bound, evaluate, and readjust, right? So what do we mean by this? We say that the goal should always be specific. The goal should always be specific, right? I want to get 95% marks in class 10th. Goal should always be, specific. I want to get into, IIT Madras, right, as a computer science engineer, right? I need to get into, AIMS, right, as a doctor, right? Whatever you would and, define your goal to be. A goal should always be specific. The more specific the goal that you have, higher are the chances for you to achieve that goal, right? Second is, a goal should be, meaningful to you. That is, you have to ensure this, that you are passionate about that goal. Big things in life, they just do not happen accidentally. You will have to put some kind of a passion, some kind of a hard work, to go ahead, and achieve those goals. Third thing is that you need to pick up goals initially, that are achievable in nature. If you have been an average student all your life and you set a goal of being top 100, in IT JEE, you need to understand this, that there is a sequence in which it will go. Okay, so you need to set, intermittent goals before you go out and look at, a complete big picture. The end goal may be that you want to get into an IT JEE and like you want to go to, means a top school like an IIT Madras. But understand this, that you will have to formulate intermittent goals, right, before you reach your, end goals. Then the goal must be relevant. It should make sense to you. It should make sense to the people around you, right? That's what the goal should be. And then the fifth is, it should be time bound. That is, a goal is always time bound, right? What is it that you want to do in the next 2 months? What is it that you want to do, over a period of next 6 months, right? What is it that you want to do over a period of next 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, right? So you need to set your goals, and then you need to divide your goals into multiple objectives. And then you need to evaluate your progress, whether you're going. So one thing is that you have planned, and second is, when you are actually putting in some kind of a hard work, you will see to it that the, you will go and see to it that some kind of results you will get. When you're getting some kind of results, that is the time for you to evaluate whether the results which are coming out are in line with your planning or not. If they are not in line, in that case, you move on to step number 7. You need to readjust your approach. You need to readjust your approach. You need to readjust your approach. For how long you need to keep on readjusting your approach? Till that time you start, okay, till the time, you are being aligned on the right path. So till the time you're being aligned, to the results that you want to get. So these were the 4 points in which you can go ahead and set your goals, and how can you go ahead and achieve your goals. Okay, so let's go ahead now. Second is honesty. Very important, right? To be persuasive, we must be believable. To be believable, we must be credible. Credible, we must be truthful, right? So being a student leader, student leadership cannot come to you till the time you are honest to yourself and you're honest to others. So honest student leaders are committed to doing their work ethically, right? That's what, honesty means. They can be trusted in personal relationships and when working on group assignments or any other kind of a team activity. An honest leader wins the trust of others, right? We have already seen to it that leadership is influence, and honesty helps you building an influence, with your circle. That's why honesty is so important. How can you improve upon the honesty, right? Now, as I told you that we will be talking about the skills, and then we'll also be talking about how can you enhance on the skills. In this case, what you need to do is make a list of all the areas of your life that you're not happy with. Whatever areas of your life that you're dissatisfied, just make a list of all those areas in your life. Then ask yourself the following question. Are you keeping your promises to yourself in those areas? That is, whatever you're planning in those areas, you are able to go ahead and make it. Or are you going ahead and, okay, all the promises to others have been kept, or you are actually telling lies to yourself and you're telling lies to others, right? So you need to analyze yourself with all those areas that you're not happy about it. Then you need to go ahead and decide that you will put an end to it. You will put an end to the, okay, you will put an end to the lies and the dishonesty. You need to keep a small diary and note down your observations henceforth in those areas, right? You just need to make it, some kind of a regular habit to make an entries in your diary, which is with you. Nobody else will go ahead, right, and have a look at your diary. But you need to see to it that all the areas where you are actually not being honest to yourself and others, right? I'll just give you an example. You have set a great goal for the next 1 week that you will study really hard every day for 2.5 hours, because your examinations are approaching. After a week, what happened? You have not gone ahead and even like opened your books. So this is what is, what we call as a dishonesty to yourself. So you need to see to it that is this, actually becoming a habit. This is the way you can actually go ahead and cure that habit. If possible, you can find out a close friend who will be your accountability partner. An accountability partner always will go ahead and actually hold you responsible, and he will help you improve, right? Somebody who can go ahead and trust. If it is a family member, right, it can be a father or a mother or any kind of a sibling, it is all the more good. Okay, so honesty was the second quality which a student leader should have. The third quality which a student leader should have is hardworking and persevering, right? Without hard work, nothing gets achieved. A person always doing his or her best becomes a natural leader just by an example. Okay, so hard work is contagious. If one student is working hard and shows a true passion for the subject, they will inspire others to believe that they too can strive for excellence. Hard work is required to acquire the knowledge and build the skill set without which influence gets diminished. In short, a hardworking student leaders, inspires, and push their classmates to do more. So what happens in these cases is that, remember this, nothing great gets achieved without working hard, without putting in a proper amount of perseverance towards your goals. Okay, how can you actually become a hard worker? Remember this, it all starts with the goal. If your goal is aligned, you will work hard towards it. So here what I'll go ahead and suggest is you need to paste your goal in front of your study table, right? What is it that you want to achieve? Just paste your goal, and that goal should be the one which has the ability, to move you emotionally. You should be passionate towards that goal, right? Then you have to create a work plan with the help of your teachers, your parents, and your friends. And just to see to it that hard work becomes a habit, you need to associate some kind of a reward and punishment with that work plan. That is, you have prepared a plan for the next 1 week. Then you will see to it that if you are able to achieve that plan, just go ahead and give some kind of a reward yourself, right? With some kind of a small gift. It can be some time out with your friends. It can be watching few hours of your, it can be watching few hours of your favorite series, or it can be a t-shirt or anything else. Now, initially, when you're forming a habit, you do not get too hard on yourself, right? Even if you are not able to achieve it fully, just go slow on yourself. You should value the progress and not the completion in the beginning. If you're able to complete it, outstandingly well. But initially, when you are going ahead and forming a habit, right, just value progress and see to it your progress should happen every day. Your progress towards your goal, should actually be, it should actually be consistent. Then fine tune and let the habit take roots. Once the habit has taken roots, you will have got a lot of rewards coming your way. And for this, you need to take your parents and, a lot of other people in confidence. Then point number 4, that is the quality number 4 is, student leaders, they serve others. A leader is like a shepherd. He stays behind the flock, letting the most nimble go out ahead, whereupon the others follow, not realizing that all along they are being directed from behind, right? So this is what we looked at. It is not essential that a leader will always lead. It is not essential that a leader will always lead, but you may see this that a lot of times, right, a leader will just stand at the back and his followers will lead. They will always have a perception that they are in lead, but everything is being controlled from the back, right? This is what the beauty of, leadership is. And somebody like Nelson Mandela was that kind of a leader. So they serve others. When we say that they serve others, what does this mean, right? What does this mean? So this primarily means few things. Leaders and are willing to go out of their way to serve those in need. In a classroom setting, now we are talking about student leadership. In a classroom setting, this is best seen through acts of kindness or selflessness. For example, if somebody is being bullied in your class, do you look at it like other students, right? Or you do something about it? Unlike students who stand idly by, a student leader is likely to step up and put an end to it. So a student leader is always ahead to share his knowledge and help his other classmates, and help his other classmates with their academic and personal challenges. Okay, so how to improve on serving others? How to inculcate this quality in you? So first of all, find out that do you have any social club or a social activity group in your school? If you have it, right, just start volunteering for it. Develop some kind of a social sensitivity. Start helping and start, going and serving other people in the society. Just initiate a study group, right? Now, again, it should be a study group and it should not be, like it should not be a gossip group with the, like with your friends. Decide on the topics to be covered for every week, right? So it is going to be a joint study group where you can help others in the courses that you are get at, and you can actually get helped from others in the courses, you are average. So see to it that in this way, all of you will, go ahead and help on benefiting each other, okay, mutually, and see to it that you don't have to go ahead and sacrifice your self-study, okay, when you're going ahead and involving in all these activities. So your own self-study will come first, but definitely go ahead and indulge in these kind of activities, become, like what we call as socially sensitive, right? And also see to it that you should have some kind of a support group or some kind of a study group where a lot of people are going ahead and helping it out. Okay, so okay, let's go ahead. Leaders are good listeners, right? So when we talk about student leaders, right, they are always good, they're always good listeners. The leader must ring with the voices of the people. So what does this mean? This means that you have to develop good listening abilities. A lot of us, we are waiting for a turn to talk, and in that process we don't go out and listen to the people around us. Okay, so we'll have to see this. So student leaders care about and listen to the thoughts and concerns of others in the group. If you are a good student leader, you will listen to the things which are happening around you. Some students may only feign interest, right, in others' problem. A good student leader is likely to show a genuine interest in and desire to help others. Okay, in a group work, they are also more receptive of others. What we call as feedback, and they are also, what we call as willing to compromise. They will not only listen to their friends and colleagues, but also listen to the teachers in and of the classroom. Very, very important thing is just that you should be a good listener, right? Very, very important thing for you is that you should be a good listener. A good listener is always appreciated, in any team that they go ahead and work in, right? And this is a quality that you will see that a lot of student leaders, they don't have, this quality. Now, how to develop good listening qualities? First is pay attention to the courses being taught by your teachers in the class, right? Listen to what is being taught, even in an online or an offline mode. Whenever your teachers tells you to go ahead and summarize what has happened in the class, always go ahead, right, and try to summarize, right? Always be there as some kind of a volunteer. So when you summarize something, this means that you have been there in the class, right? Okay, and you have been going ahead and listening attentively to okay, like to your professors or to your teachers. In case these things are not available, at the end of every class, just write a short summary, 4 5 4 5 kind of sentences. What is it that the class was all about, and what is it that you have gone ahead and learned in the class? Try summarizing any class team meetings or other group activities. Once the school opens and you guys are back to your schools, any kind of meeting which happens inside the classroom, just be there, and in the end, just go ahead and summarize the entire meeting for the good of everybody. You will notice, if you keep on doing these activities, you will notice that in few weeks, right, what you're listening, and in few weeks you will improve upon any kind of a listening ability, and also you will start understanding the most important points in any kind in any kind of a conversation. Now, point number 6, leaders are good communicators, right? God has given us 2 ears and 1 mouth. That is the reason that listening skills came before what we call as the communication skills. Okay, 90% of leadership is the ability to communicate something people want. So student leaders are always good communicators. Student leaders communicate their ideas to the rest of the group. If they have an idea of how things should be done, they make their suggestion known in an open and respectful manner. They are generally expressive and have a positive body language. They ask relevant questions to the people around, and they work on their communication consistently, right? To be very honest with you, if you look at students, right, I think, communication is one field where they lack. So I'll just tell you how to improve upon your communication. Some of the best communicators that you see around yourself, right, were actually not born that way, right? So how to go ahead and develop good communication skills, right? So we'll go ahead and divide it into 3 phases. First of all, if you are a starter and you are having a low confidence, right, in talking in front of others, or talking in front of class, or talking in front of a lot of people, you just see to it that start reading loudly your newspapers and your books. What you need to do is you need to tune your own ears to your voice in English. Okay, have an accountability partner, have a good friend who also wants to improve upon his communication, and then communicate with him on a regular basis. If possible, take out 5 minutes, just 5 minutes in the entire day, about your favorite topic, and stand in front of the mirror and talk, right? These things will help you improve your communications at the grassroots level. After some time, right, once your school opens, you can always go ahead and give presentations in the open classroom. Why? Because you are still scared of facing a lot of people. Start speaking up in classes by asking questions, and slowly, right, start speaking up in classes, right, by participating in multiple things, by asking questions to your teachers, to your professors, and then increase your participation in a lot of other activities. And the last stage, the pinnacle of communication, is when you start getting on to the school stage. When you get a small part in the assembly, like news of the day or saying a pledge, and start communicating effectively. Now, this does not happen over one single day. You need to put in an effort to move from scratch, to a high level. The good thing is that you have all the time with you, right? You guys are just students, right? And you have all time to enhance upon these skills in you. Skill number 7 is this, that students, some of the student leaders, they're good decision maker. The most difficult thing is the decision to act. The rest is merely a tenacity. So student leaders evaluate a given situation and come to a well-reasoned conclusion about the best course of action. Ultimately, good decision making stems from a high sense of responsibility, a strong sense of direction, and the ability to think quickly, even under pressure. Now, when we're talking about good decision making, remember this, that this good decision making was not being developed on day one, right? Nobody was born as a good decision maker, maker. All the 10 things that we are talking about, they are the skills which can be improved. So how can you improve your decision making skills? First, it starts taking small decisions, like, buying your own clothes, what kind of clothes that you want to wear, create your own, own kind of a time schedule, find out that what activities and interest you, just go ahead and enroll yourself in some kind of an extracurricular activity in the school. And once you have taken a decision, stick to that. There is always a phase after a decision where people feel that, whether I've taken a right decision or a wrong decision, and there is a tendency to pull back. So don't do it, right? Once you have taken a decision, stick to the decision. Start being a part of group activities in your class, and start making small decisions as a part of the group. Every right decision should act as an encouragement, but every wrong decision, it should act as a learning. Just go back and see to it that why was that decision wrong? What is the learning that you got into it? And above all, stop judging your decisions based on the outcomes. right? If an outcome is good, okay, this means the decision was good. If an outcome was bad, this means that the, okay, this means that the decision was bad. Initially, don't be so hard on yourself. Just get into the habit of taking decisions for yourself. Start with small decisions and then move on to taking, bigger decisions. Student leaders are encouraging in nature. They encourage themselves and they encourage others. So student leaders recognize that everyone has strengths and weaknesses. They affirm and utilize these strengths in the group while assisting in the areas of weaknesses. So a student leader is the one who keeps himself motivated and then he also encourages others. Okay. Then how to stay encouraged and motivated? First of all, you need to find out what motivates you. Is it a song, a movie, a book, or some character? Whatever motivates you, keep those things closer to you so that whenever you are down, right, and not feeling very great, those are the things which can actually go and bring you back. I have seen a lot of students have got a favorite song or they have got some kind of a movie clipping which can actually go ahead and put, which can actually go ahead and put them back on a path, on which they want to be on. So remember this, whenever we talk about a leader, every leaders feel discouraged at times. There is nothing like this that the leaders do not feel discouraged, but the only thing is this, that they do not stay discouraged for very long. They know this, that what are the buttons in their mind, what are the things that that actually go out and motivate them, and they work on those things, right? So you should be doing it on the same things. So are always positive in nature. They keep building that positivity around them. How to build that positivity? Just read some good book, 5 pages of a positive book every day. Okay. Just see to it. Say a book like, say a book like You Can Win by Shiv Khera, right? That should always be okay with you. You should look at that book and read just 5 good uplifting pages of that book every day. If you're there on YouTube, listen to some good videos, right? Just go ahead and listen to somebody like a Robin Sharma or a Jack Canfield or or Tony Robbins or a Les Brown. They have got followings of millions, on their Insta pages, on what we call as YouTube. So just go ahead and get benefited from them. You should have a circle of positive-minded people. And one thing which has actually helped me a lot: every night before you go to sleep, right, just write 3 good things which have happened to you that day. Just focus on the positive, right? And every day make it a point to find 3 people and give them some kind of compliments, right? They can be 3 people, the same 3 people every day, but you should pass on 3 compliments to 3 different people every day. Okay, so this is how you build positivity. And last is the student leaders will take responsibility, right? The student leaders will take responsibility. If something goes wrong, they do not pass the blame. They stand that they were the one who were, responsible. So if you ask me, what is responsibility for you? To me, if you are putting your effort in all the top 9 qualities, to me, you have taken the responsibility. If you have put your all the 9 qualities on the top, you are actually working towards that. To me, now you are responsible and you are behaving responsibly, right? And that is what it's all about. Okay, so I'll just take questions, right, soon. Okay, and you will have the PPTs. I have seen some of you are asking for the PPTs and all, and just see to it. Last but not the least, now whatever you have been doing till now, okay, whatever you have been going ahead and listening till now, okay, it's all good, but I've saved the best for the last. So wherever you are, I want your complete focus now, only for 2 minutes, right? Because I'm there on the last slide, and I want your complete focus because this is the slide which will make a difference for your life to come. Okay. Okay. Now, how many of you feel afraid or you feel scared before you do something new? Just say yes in the chat box. How many of you feel scared, right? Or you feel afraid before you do something in your life? Right? Some of you are quite brave, but all those who feel that some kind of discouragement or some kind of scary thing, right? Also, maybe in certain moments, right, most of you have typed yes. Okay, now understand that why do these things they happen. So whenever we have talked about all these 10 points over here, uh, right, to be, actually honest, this is a workshop which will actually, okay, this is a workshop which may require some more time, but, we wanted to go ahead and finish it off in an hour's time and answer questions there. But once you look at it, right, now, this is what happens, right? This is what happens. Now, look at this figure very, very intently. This figure, is worth its weight in gold, right? So each one of you has got some kind of a comfort zone where you feel, very, very comfortable right now. For example, somebody who doesn't have got a great communication skill has got a story of his own that someday I will go ahead and improve, right? Okay, there is no day called as someday. It is either Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? There is no day called as someday. So some of you are there in your comfort zone, and whenever you will like to enhance something, you will definitely feel afraid, right? You will find excuses, you will have lack of self-confidence. If you do not do that thing consistently, you will run back into your comfort zone. How many times it has happened to you guys that you have tried doing something, and after small amount of time, maybe after a week time, you just go and give it up? Okay, it can be a public speaking, it can be multiple things, but remember this, that from a comfort zone you always get into a feared zone. You do not get into, what we call as a learning zone or a growth zone. Everybody has this. Your mind plays games with you, but you will see to it that if you're doing that activity consistently over a period of time, talking to yourself 5 minutes in a mirror every day, taking out, okay, you are trying to find out, like you're trying to find out some kind of occasions where you can go ahead and talk to the masses. You will see to it that initially you will be afraid, but then your comfort zone will expand. Your comfort zone will expand. Your comfort zone will expand. Once comfort zone expand, this means that the things you were uncomfortable about before, now they have entered into your comfort zone, right? And this is how you move on to the learning zone and growth zone. Remember that there is nothing called as fearless. If somebody says that he has never been scared, right, he has not done anything in his life, right? Remember one thing, right? Okay, this is the philosophy that I have gone ahead and lived my life by, okay, like what we call as, like डर के आगे, right, डर के आगे क्या है, right, डर के आगे जीत है. You need to be consistent with a certain kind of an activity, and you need to do it again and again and again till the time the fear comes down, right, and you start feeling much more confident. Then that activity will come in your comfort zone, right? So this is what all I have to go and give it to you. You guys are going to be the leaders of tomorrow, and the sooner you start, the better it is for you, right? Okay, that's all I had to say. I'll just request, I'll just request Arun sir if he wants to open it for questions.
Thank you so much, Rajesh. Thank you so much. I think, I think everyone has been glued to their chairs, right? Questions, everyone. You can. So if you can just remove, stop the share part.
I'll do that.
Okay. So, wow. So
by now, yeah. Anybody has any questions? I know that I may have moved slightly fast because, I wanted to give you guys as much as possible. And, like you'll have the slides with you, slides are already being shared with Arun sir, I'm sure.
The first one comes our way, how to be a good, different leaders, how to be good, different leader if everyone around us is also trying to be a leader.
Okay, now the simplest answer to the, this is just that even though is trying to be a leader around you, but everybody will have the knowledge of the skill sets, okay, which have to be practiced. That's number one. Number two is just that once you start doing all the basic skill sets, those 10 skill sets that we have talked about, you will automatically start improving, right? Now, there has been a great thing which has been, there has been a great thing which has been, said by Shiv Khera, right? He says that, if you look at the leaders, right, they are in a habit of doing things, in a different way. They do not do, all the things differently, right? But when you look at the, when you go and look at the leaders, the same thing which is being done by everybody, they will find out a niche in that self, in those things, and they'll probably go and do those things. If everybody in the process of improving upon, is in the process of improving upon their communication, be rest assured that not many of the people will know that what are the basic skill sets which are being required to enhance upon your communication. I've seen a lot of people, going at and enhancing your communication, but not able to do it. So if you are practicing the same skill sets again and again and again, you will see to it that when you start getting better at it, you will automatically start doing a lot of different things compared to the people around you. Yeah. If what has been taught to me by my mentors is just that if your back door is always open, right, you don't put, a lot of effort, there on your plan A. So plan B, people, those who have plan B, C, D, E, and F, right, never put enough effort in plan A, right? Say, for example, your goal is to crack an IIT JEE. If not IIT JEE, I will go to an RBCE. If not to an RBCE, I can go to a smaller engineering college in Bangalore. If not to that, probably I'll do a BSc in my hometown. If not that, I think father always has a business, I'll go ahead and join it. Such kind of thinking will never help you go ahead and crack, your plan A, that is an IIT JEE. So, like in the example that I have taken. So generally people should not have, other plans. I have always been against a plan B, a plan C, a plan D, or any other kind of alternatives. Just focus, give your everything to one single goal. And if it does not happen, we'll see what to be done. But if the back door is always open, people do not go ahead and put enough effort on plan
A. This one is, I have a fixed goal, but I tend to not be able to fully focus on it. The goal that I have is very relevant to me. What can I do?
Just divide your goal into objectives, right? Just go ahead and divide them into multiple things. Now, first thing is that the goal should be, what we call a smarter in nature. So all the 7 points that we have talked about it, that it should be, a specific goal, it should be meaningful and measurable, it should be achievable, it should be time bound, all those things should be there. But the best thing is that if the goal is very big and you are actually getting overwhelmed by looking at the goal, just divide your goal into multiple, small objectives, and then focus on those objectives. The moment you meet all those objectives, you'll automatically go ahead and meet your goal. So this is one thing which I can go ahead and tell you. There is something called as a denial test also that we go ahead and do it. A denial test is nothing but you just go ahead, and try to deny your goal. That if this thing does not happen, what will I do? If this thing does not happen, what will I do? If you have got multiple answers to that question, this means that you are not very passionate and focused on that goal. Say, for example, if you've got multiple answers for the denial test, that is, if this goal doesn't happen, I have got plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E, plan F, right, till plan Z. This means that you're not very passionate about that goal. But you should have some, sense of fear the moment somebody, like the moment somebody tells you to just go ahead and deny it, that what will you do if that thing does not happen? This means that you're actually very passionate about the goal. Then go ahead and divide your goals into objectives and follow your objectives. Each objective being attained will lead to your goal.
We'll take the last 3 questions that we have and probably restrict, for today's session. This one is, can we be a good leader without being socially active?
Depends upon in which field you are actually becoming a leader, right? I know so many doctors and so many engineers, those who are not socially active, those who are, what is socially recluse. But these people keep on interacting with people, but they are not in the forefront of any kind of a social activity. So it all depends upon the arena that you have, gone ahead and chosen. If you want to be in Indian politics and not know about people, you will never ever succeed. But if you have chosen a field, say for example, I actually know so many people online, they are like the digital mentors, some of them are really very good and they are not very, very socially active. Even people like Robin Sharma, I am not sure that how many of the people on this know, but Robin Sharma, and somebody like, what we call as Tony Robbins, right? They are not very, very socially active people. They do the work which is being assigned to them. They interact with a lot of people, but they are not, what we call as people persons as such. So it is a myth that you need to be very, very good with people in case, you have to be a good leader, right? You should have the ability to form a team. You should have the ability to get work done, right? But you need not be very, very socially active, right? And even if we talk about Steve Jobs, he was not a very socially active person. See to it that when the fear takes over, the mind starts playing the games, right? So see, your mind is a powerhouse. Your mind is a powerhouse. Whatever question you will ask your mind, it will give you the answer. For example, if you will ask your mind the question that, will I succeed? The mind will give you 10 reasons that you will succeed. Okay, if you will ask your mind the question that, I think I'll fail, right? Your mind will give you 10 reasons that, how will you go and fail? In my own experience, whenever the fear takes over, if you have got, a good kind of a mastermind group or some kind of a support system, or you have got some kind of accountability partners in your life, they always go out and help you out, right? So it is always good to start building that kind of a support infrastructure around you. That can be your parents, that can be your friend circle, that can be a lot of other like-minded people that you can go and find online or offline. Now, these are the people, those who actually go and keep on picking you up when you're down. Apart from that, at least in my case, I already had a couple of videos, like uplifting videos and songs and all those kind of things, which always used to go ahead and put me back, in that mood, where I can be more productive. So that's all I have to say. Okay. See, it's a myth. Okay, let's talk about, let's talk about the richest man in India, Mukesh Ambani. I can guarantee you he will not know much, about telecommunication, but he will know everything about how to run a telecommunication business. I doubt how many times he would have actually gone to a refinery and he would have seen that, how all these, what you call petroleum products, actually get segregated. He may not have any kind of a technical knowledge about that, but he has the ability to build teams. He has the ability to find the right kind of people to actually being put into, all those places. So it is a myth. It is a myth that a leader should be an expert of everything that he has to go out and do it. Rather, even if you see the best of the leaders in the corporate arena or to a lot of people, right, you will see to it that these were the people who have the ability to, go ahead and form teams and spot out the right people, right? Take the example of somebody like Ratan Tata. Tata is a big kind of a conglomerate which has got, all these organizations like a TCS or a Tata Motors and everything. Do we think that he will know, about all of them? Absolutely not. His basic competency is to build teams. His basic competency is to find out people, those who have got all the knowledge about, all these businesses. And then his competency is to keep those people with him, and see to it that those people, uplift and grow along with him. So it's always a myth that you need to have complete knowledge. If you will have a complete knowledge all technical knowledge, right? You will be a very good technical guy, but may not be, right? Think of any IT company, think of a CEO, think of people like Narayan Murthy or Nandan Nilekani and all these guys. They will have lakhs of people in their organization, those who are far better coders than what they are, but their competency is something completely different, right? So that is the reason that I told you that you need not be an expert or completely knowledgeable, in the field that you are, but certain kind of skill sets, if you have an influence over the people, right? So this is what it is.
Hello. I think, am I audible? Yes,
yes, absolutely.
I just wanted to know that, honesty and integrity are very key important ingredients of a good leader.
Right.
But I have seen that many of the leaders do not possess that, but still they are good leaders. How is it possible?
You'll have to give me
Honesty, I mean, maybe in politics, honesty, especially in politics.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. See, when we talk about honesty, it means honesty to your work, honesty to your people. If you have got a group of like-minded people, right? Even if you are going ahead and dishonest with your own people, you will never be able to become a leader. So even in politics, when we look at the politics, all these politicians that you see around, those who have been, dishonest to, to people, you will see these people at least being honest to the core group that they have. At least their people can go ahead and believe them. Right? Means yes. I'm sure about it, the kind of people that you're talking, all of us, we know about them. But you will see to it that these are the people, those who are at least honest and true to the people around. Otherwise, these people will not go ahead and stick with them. That's number one. Number two is this, that it's an exception. Why will I say it's an exception? Because everybody in the field is like that. Most of the intellectual class like you and I, we do not want to get into that field and we want to go ahead and dirty our hands. So that is the reason that, that is the reason that, when somebody honest, like an Arvind Kejriwal, okay, he actually jumps into the fray. People look at his, all the credentials. Now I sitting in, in Bangalore, I cannot go ahead and comment, but some of you, those who are there from Delhi, you have been, going ahead and voting him. So the first time also he had got a huge majority, and the second also he had a huge majority. So people are looking out for a change, and whenever they will go ahead and find alternatives in these cases, they will see to it that, all these things will be taken care of. Number two. Number three, we are already seeing that, what is actually happening with, a lot of dynasty politics. Now that is also a kind of dishonesty in the mind of people, that, how come somebody who has, not gone ahead and risen from the grassroots level can actually go up, right? Okay. Why should he have got some kind of privileges? And you will see to it, the youth will go ahead and take notice of that, and a lot of things will happen, right? So this is my answer to this, right?
Yes.
So
thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you.